Ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Senate will now come to order. Our prayer today will be delivered by Pastor Ray Jones of Ridgecrest Baptist Church in Dothan. Pastor Jones is a guest of Senator Chasteen and Al Capp. Great to have you today.
Lord Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your goodness to us. We thank you for life, that we have breath. Lord, thank you that we can conduct the affairs of this state. I thank you for these that are gathered in this Senate. I pray, Father, that your favor will rest upon them, that you will give them wisdom. You have told us that if we lack wisdom, and we do, to ask, and you would give it generously. So I pray in this session that these would have that wisdom, your wisdom from above. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Today the pledge will be led by Shepard Barton. Shepard attends Gadsden High School and is paging for Senator Jones.
Attention, salute, pledge.
All right, thank you. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Allen, Mr. Barfoot, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Bell, Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chasteen, Ms. Coleman Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Melson, Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Shelnut, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smithman, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Stutz, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver, Mr. Williams, Mr. Woods,
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 24 senators present, which is a quorum. The Senate is ready to transact business.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move that we excuse absent senators.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move that we dispense with the reading of the journal from the previous legislative day and that we adopt said journal.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Now move on to introduction of bills. Senator Jones.
Mr. President, make a motion we allow for introduction of bills at any point throughout the day.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. President, make a point we allow for committee reports at any point throughout the day.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, move on to House messages. Secretary, call the first House message.
Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has amended as therein shown and is amended has passed the following Senate bill and returns same herewith to the Senate. Senate Bill number 19 relating to insurance. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk.
Mr. President, the House changed the start date on that and named that bill after David McElhaney and Roy Johnson, and I move that the Senate concur, and I don't think we have a good roll, do we? So
No, sir.
concur with a long roll, please.
All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Allen, Mr. Barfoot, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Bell, Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chastain, Ms. Coleman, Ms. Coleman Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Melson, Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Shellnut, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smitherman, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Stutz, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver, Mr. Williams, Mr. Woods,
22 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. The Senate concurs on Senate Bill 19. Thank you, Senator Livingston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members.
All right, Senator Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was over here discussing the little legislation with the chairman. So I'm gonna pick that back up in a minute. Thank you for recognizing for a moment of personal privilege.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Let me get everybody's attention. Let me get your attention. I know y'all working through trying to work. I know y'all trying to work through to get to the special order and get things right. But just let me get your attention just a minute. This is our this is our moment in Black history. We have several moments. The first one is Nat King Cole, Alabama born, 1919 to 1965. He started his career as a jazz pianist and went on to become one of the most popular vocalists of all time. With his soft baritone voice, Cole entertained audiences around the world via his recordings and the Nat King Cole Show, one of the first U.S. television variety shows hosted by African American. Our next person is Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong was born in 1901 and lived to 1971, was one of the world's most influential jazz musicians. Even before he was a teenager, he learned to play the trumpet and the clarinet and expanded his repertoire through singing and acting. Throughout his 5-decade-long career, Armstrong regaled audience with his intimate musical style and scenic singing. The next person is Benjamin O. Davis Sr. Davis Sr., born in 1877 to 1970, was the first African-American general in the U.S. Army. He distinguished himself in a long military career, serving in the Spanish-American War, the Filipino-American War, and World War I and World War II, and was a driving force behind the eternal integration of the U.S. Armed Forces. The next person is Mahalia Jackson, known as the Queen of Gospel Music. Jackson, born in 1911 through 1972, was one of the world's most influential gospel singers. Her powerful voice was a key instrument in the civil rights movement, as she was a featured singer during rallies, including the memorious 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Thank you all for giving me your attention, and this is our Moments of Black History for today. Thank you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor.
Hey, thank you, Senator Smitherman. All right, I think we're finished with House messages. Is that correct, Matt? All right, now move on to committee reports. Secretary, call the first committee.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation Number 69, appointing Brandy Williams to the Alabama Fire College and Personnel Standards and Education Commission, receives a favorable report by vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays.
Senator Weaver.
I move that the Senate confirm Brandy Williams to the Alabama Firefighters Personnel Standards and Education Commission using previous role, and add me as a yes, please.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
All right, 23 ayes,
I'm
0
gonna do that
nays.
anyway.
Brandy Williams is confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation. You want to speak on a confirmation?
No, I'll speak on the next one.
Okay.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 70, appointing Lynn Brewer to the Alabama Board of Heating, Air Conditioning, and Refrigeration Contractors, receives a favorable report by vote of 11 ayes and 0 nays.
Move the Senate confirm Lynn Brewer to the Board of Heating and Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Contractors using previous role.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
I'd like to speak on the heating, air conditioning, and refrigerator contractor board.
All right, sounds good. Recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Weaver. We really appreciate the way you're operating your committee and how you are able to get these in and the load that you're carrying. And I know that they're piling them up on you 20 and 30 at a time. And you have done an excellent job at getting these in and out of your committee. And you have worked with us on the other side of the aisle in terms of how we want to move them, and I appreciate your willingness to do that. This is what I'm doing now is not an indictment to any of your work or what you're doing. This is Bobby Singleton just slowing things down a little bit this morning. Okay?
Gotcha.
That's all it is. This is nothing about you and bringing these out, because I do sit on the committee while I was out yesterday and did get an opportunity to vote on any of these. And while this is not even against this gentleman this young lady, Miss Brewer, this is not against her. And if she's listening, I want her to know this is not about her. Or is it a he? It's a Lynn?
It's a he.
It's a he? Okay, I just saw Lynn, L-Y-N-E, and I apologize, sir, if
Now,
you're listening.
The previous confirmation, excuse me, was a lady.
Okay.
A lady fire chief from the
Awesome.
city of Madison.
Awesome. And so this is, a very important industry here, because while we can have AI to do a whole lot of things, AI can't go in there and put that Freon, in that heat pump unit. It's going to take some manual labor, unless they're going to find some way of sending the robot out later to be able to do that. AI may be able to give us the opportunity to know that the Freon is getting low and allow us to be able to go and have notice to have it serviced at some point in time. Because I know just recently at my home, all the Freon ran out because I failed to get it serviced in the proper time that it fell in it showed. And so I had to get a guy out a couple of weeks ago to put some more Freon in, because really on the coldest night of the year, I didn't have heat at the house because the fan stopped running because of his emergency setting. And so we were able to the next day to get someone out and get it back working. But that was on me, because I didn't get it serviced in the proper time, just ripping and running, and just kind of forgot about getting it done. But these people are important, to what we do each and every day. And sometimes we overlook that. These are trades that we're going to continue to have to teach at our 2-year schools, our apprenticeships, and we're going to have to continue to move those disciplines along. And these disciplines make a lot of money, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and we need them. So while we think about all of the high-tech jobs and the AI jobs that we're looking at and continue to grow in our state, but right now, these are irreplaceable kind of jobs. We have not found anyone to place the human touch on these jobs. And so these boards will continue to be important as long as we continue to use the kind of technology that we're using in our homes. Maybe one day we won't have heating systems that will not use, Freon, and maybe that'll take away somebody and have to come out. But until they discover that kind of unit, to where we don't need that human touch, we need this discipline out there. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to confirm good people on this board that will continue to do the work, to oversee, to make sure that there are good contractors that are coming out, honest contractors that are coming out, and making sure people are certified to do the job and do the job properly. And so we put these people on the board to oversee that process, so that when companies are coming out, we have somebody to call to say that we had a bad contractor who came and did a bad job, a botched up job and left me hanging and didn't do. So we have this board that we can make a phone call to, and they can investigate that contractor and that contractor license and make sure that they are a licensed contractor that'll come out and do this. I don't know how many more of these you had.
So today,
Yes.
today this is the last one.
This is okay. Well,
Yeah.
good then. Fine.
This is-
I saw you were
Dylan.
wrapping up over there. I saw you were wrapping up your paperwork that you were getting out. You know, you were getting away with. So, for some reason, you know, leadership always like to use this side of the aisle as the guinea pig to slow things down. You know what I'm saying? You know, they never want to come up here and slow it down themselves. They want to always. Oh, well, you would be real slow. You'd be moving it on out of here. We'd be going home by 9:30 if we left up to you. I know. Look at here. Today, I would love to go and move this calendar, you know, and get it on out of here. My health is coming back. I want to go see, can I play me about 9 holes of golf today if I can, you know? After I finish doing my work here today. And, but we're gonna, you know, I don't know what's the.
I just do want to say thank you for your bipartisanship on working through all these confirmations. You know, they do such an important role in the state and all that they do, and just appreciate you guys working through this. We've had a great session so far in confirmations. We've gotten a lot of people through. We were able to have a really great reception last week, and we met about 30 people that the governor's office sent over. Now, these two today are actually from down in the speaker's office.
Okay.
The speaker sent them up, so the governor's office was not involved in our committee process yesterday, but we were able to hear about these candidates yesterday in committee, and we continue to vet people that the governor's office is sending over. I understand they're meeting with her this morning, and they're sending another significant number over for us to have next week, so we'll have an exciting confirmations committee next week as well, I hope.
Yes, I was on the phone with the appointment secretary this morning about some appointments that I had some concerns about, and they was telling me they were about to flood you with a lot more.
Here they are.
So I said, well, I'm sure she's going to be glad to get those in, right?
Every time I think I'm getting my head above water, here they come.
Here they come. And I don't know where all, you know, again, you know, you may know, but I'd be surprised sometime at how many vacancies there are on a yearly basis that we have to deal with, you know, being that these are like 4 years. And I'm sure that, you know, every year somebody is coming up and up and up.
Look at that, number 70.
Exactly.
So we've had at least 70 so far.
So far.
This time, and if there's
And I
more
hear you
coming,
got it. I know you got at least 30 more coming.
right? And there was a very significant number last year as well. I think that we did about 150 or maybe even a little more last year. And a lot of that was because of the Workforce Development Board that had 30 or 40 on it that we had to address early in the session. But, yep, they're still coming.
Yep. And we'll, you know, and the good thing about it is that through this process, we work it out. Even if we don't come out here and you agree, you may have 50 and you say, we're only going to agree to do 9 today, then we'll do 9. And it works out. And sometimes people begin to panic, but it works out. Before that last day, we would have gotten them all out. So we have time to get them out, you know.
We didn't get them all out last year, though.
Well, we didn't. We didn't.
I think we had 37 last year that got stuck in the basket, but we're going to try to do better this year.
Yeah, we'll do better. You know, last year we got caught up in a whirlwind, which I don't want us to get caught up in this year.
I agree.
But we're trending down that line now. I'm just letting you know it's trending that way. And I'm being nice about it again. It's trending that way. And it's the same issue all over again. Well, here we are on the 14th day of the legislative session. I filed a local bill on the first day of the legislative session, and it hadn't come up yet. You know, and so, again, it costs advertisement. It costs, you know, just like everybody else's local bill. That's all I want is a fair shot, up or down vote. And that's all I want.
It's hard to believe we've been here 14 days already.
Been here 14 days. And it's an election year, you know? And just like everybody else, I would like to take my election package home just like they want to take theirs back home. And so I want to avoid that. I really do, because I didn't like being in that position last year. I really and truly didn't like being in that position. And don't want to be in that position this year if I don't have to be. But I think that people know that I will get in that position, because here it is, the 14th day. My local bill has not come up yet. And obviously somebody's holding it for somebody, because there's no reason why a local bill should not come up. And it's a Rule 50 local bill. So it's not just gonna come up and be passed. It gotta come up and it go out, and then it gotta go to another committee and then come back. So it's a process for a Rule 50, but there's really no reason why my local bill should be held up. But we're gonna get in the same posture we were last year, and I hope that we can go on and move these people out, and they don't get caught up in this whirlwind, because they're trending down that line right now to get right there where we were last year. They really are.
We certainly don't want to get in that kind of situation again. We've been very successful with all of our confirmations over the past couple years, and I was looking at the numbers here. I think the total number of confirmations that we had in 2023 was 115. We had 113 in 2024. We had 163 last year. So we've been knocking out some confirmations.
Been rocking and rolling.
And having number 70 already.
Been rocking and rolling. When is my man gonna come up?
Mr. Smithman,
He just did.
Senator Susan,
Could I be recognized?
you want to be recognized?
Just
Senator
a
Smith?
dialogue. I mean,
You're recognized.
it's her mic. I just want a dialogue.
You're recognized. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chairman. You know who I'm talking about, my
Well,
friend.
we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, the
We
five.
did that one when you were over there talking.
Oh, we've already done
We've
him.
already done him, yes.
Oh, good. He's a good man.
Yep.
I just want you to know that I've been knowing him for years. He is a top-notch person in his profession, and I was just glad to see him, because when you brought him by the office, just to get a chance to visit with him and everything. But that was a good pick. Governor, y'all did good over there with him.
That was actually Speaker's pick. The
Speaker.
These ones that we've done today came up from the Speaker.
Okay.
So we didn't do any of the governors today. Both of these were from the Speaker.
Okay.
But, like Senator Singleton and I were talking about, I hear that we're about to get another big load from the governor's office. They're meeting with her today. So here we go again.
Let's hope we continue to get some good ones.
We do.
Yeah.
And just appreciate you working with me through the process. And you and I have had a lot of good dialogue this year about vetting these appointees, and just appreciate your bipartisan work with me on that, because I think it just works for everybody when we're able to sit down and talk through everything before we get to this point.
Well, I appreciate you. And Webster has a dictionary. Has a definition for what you just said. You know what that is? Not the definition, but what the word is. You know what that is?
Would it be bipartisanship?
That's close, but no.
No.
This is a compliment to you. They call that leadership.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Thank
That's
you
what
very
they
much.
call that. Madam Chairman, they call that leadership.
I appreciate your
and-
kind words.
Yeah, they call that leadership. I think that we have a good slate of people that we have that you're gonna take us through today. We got a very good slate of people, and
Actually, this is the last one today.
see that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We got a very good slate of people, and I guess this one will be gone as soon as my colleague come back. I'm sure, but they're just it's kind of hard to talk two different entities at the same time. Because I know I was up here when I was giving the moments of Black History, and at the same time, right before I started, I was talking to our chairman of education about an issue, and so you see, I had to stop, and then now he had to leave, take care of some business. So whenever he gets back, I see his stuff, so I know he coming back. So I'll pick back up on that, you know. But I got a couple things I'm gonna talk to you about a school that you happen to be the senator of, you know, a university. I
have one. I bet I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, I got some things. I'm trying to make some soup, and I'm gonna need you over there to help me make this soup.
Always up for conversation, sir.
I just want to say that I'm gonna need you over there to help me make the soup, and we gonna have to. After we talk, we gonna have to put something together where we can present some facts and situations to the powers may be, so that we can kind of look at that project that I think will help try to get us out of a little hole that we're in right now, you know. And so I need to come visit you in your office and talk to you about that.
I know that that's a situation that's very important to both of us.
Yes.
And certainly happy to have those conversations whenever you want to have them.
That'd
Might
be
find
good.
some time back here in just a little bit when we get away from the mics to sit down and start having those conversations.
That'll be good. That'll be good. I think that we took some very serious steps, you know, when we ended 7 minors and 3 concentrations. You know, that in terms of getting in line like we need to be. So I think that those things are going to be a plus as you and I talk about showing the efforts of, you know, trying to help yourself first. And that's what, you know, as a board, that's what I think we did. You know, it's hard decisions, hard to do that, you know, because it was one favorite one in there that I liked. It was on the chopping block, but it had to go, you know. So I think that's going to enhance our credibility as we try to move and do some other things.
You know, as you look at things and trends like that with universities, and I haven't looked specifically at the minors that they looked at, but you have things like heating and air conditioning and refrigeration, and we just did one in the fire service, and you have those trades that the workforce now has so much more available than it did when I was growing up.
Oh, yeah.
So you have so many opportunities for kids now.
That's right.
So when you look at minors like that maybe there's not a lot of volume in, sometimes it just makes good business sense to say, you know, we have kids that are going into trades like this confirmation that we have here, and
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you have to look at those things from business decision as well when the volume's not there like it once was.
That's right. That's right. And I think that has a lot to do with why we shifted into establishing the nursing school or enhancing it, and because the enrollment in that school is probably just, if you put 4 or 5 of those minors together, you might not have that total amount of enrollment that's in that. And so that's what you're saying, that you know, this is 2026.
So I know that you've probably had the opportunity to tour that nursing school, but I was there, I guess before Christmas. Extremely impressive and just amazing, especially back in those sim labs and the clinical labs where they're teaching those clinical skills to those students, and really an impressive department and impressive setup that they've created there. And I know it's going to be a great resource for my district as a whole, because you know, there's a big nursing shortage right now.
It is.
And they're educating those young people, and they're going to be helping in our workforce there very soon. So I think that's a really good thing that they've done, and think that they're going to be very successful in that program.
I do too. I will say this. I think that we need to, and I don't know the answer, but I think we need to find a way to enhance their pay. I mean, I had a chance give you a little history about me. When I was in high school, and you know that's a few years ago, but when I was in high school, I actually was an orderly. Okay, and I don't know. I know that they may have changed the name, but I'm gonna tell you the way it was then.
I think they call it patient care tech now.
Now, patient care tech.
Yes.
Now, but we did the same thing that the LPNs did. You know, not the RN, but the LPNs. We did the same. Because I had to go to school for that training, and I worked at that time it was Shelby Memorial Hospital.
I remember.
Yeah. So you saw how far back I go. And then when they built the nursing home next to it,
Up on the hill.
I went and worked some there as well. You know, now I worked while I was in high school, so I worked the night shift, and on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I worked 11 to 7 shift.
So I'm going to show my age here too. When I first started working there right out of college, the emergency room was on the back of the hospital.
That's right. That's where I worked up on that hill, right on the back there.
Yep.
That's
That's where I
exactly right.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and see, this is what I was getting ready to tell you, is that I played sports, and either my basketball games, they were on like Tuesdays and Fridays, or either my baseball game, most of the time we would play them on a Tuesday, but we might have one on a Friday. So those were my off days and nights. And getting back to what you said, on Saturday and Sunday, I worked in the emergency room, up on the hill. Yeah. And you want ready? Okay. Oh, okay. And so I really enjoyed that, you know, that experience. I actually wanted to be a doctor at one point, but it just took too long to go to school. I'll tell you later on the circumstances of family, but I didn't have them years to go, and so I ended up going to Montevallo, you know, and graduating, and from there you know how it goes. Well, you know, I've enjoyed talking, and we're gonna get together on what we were talking about.
Very good.
But in the meantime, I'm going to turn this conversation and this mic back over to you. Thank you, Mr. President, and it's your mic, Madam Senator.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I move that the Senate confirm Lynn Brewer to the Board of Heating, Air Conditioning, and Refrigeration Contractors using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Woods.
$25 ayes, 0 nays. Lynn Brewer's confirmed. Concludes confirmations. Our Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 2. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 282 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 273 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 7 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 199 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 47 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, House Bill number 80 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee. Before you do that, I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. The guest of Senator Kitchens. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The Marshall County Leadership Class. Welcome to the Alabama Senate. All right, Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Education Policy, Senate Bill number 211 receives a favorable report with substitute by a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays. From Education Policy, Senate Bill number 305 receives a favorable report by a vote of 8 ayes and 0 nays. From Education Policy, Senate Bill number 300 receives a favorable report by a vote of 8 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, House Bill number 139 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, House Bill number 220 receives a favorable report with one amendment and one substitute by a vote of 12 ayes and 2 nays. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 274 receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 282 receives a favorable report by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 277 receives a favorable report with two amendments by a vote of 14 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Tourism, Senate Bill number 266 receives a favorable report by a vote of 6 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention. From the Committee on Tourism, Senate Bill number 287 receives a favorable report by a vote of 7 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From Local Legislation, Senate Bill number 301 receives a favorable report. From Local Legislation, Senate Bill number 314 receives a favorable report. From Local Legislation, Senate Bill number 295 receives a favorable report. From Local Legislation, Senate Bill number 312 receives a favorable report. From Local Legislation, House Bill number 371 receives a favorable report. From Local Legislation, House Bill number 386 receives a favorable report. From Local Legislation, House Bill number 330 receives a favorable report.
These bills received a second reading and be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Local Legislation, Madison County, House Bill number 337 receives a favorable report by a vote of 4 ayes and 0 nays.
This bill has received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Committee on Local Legislation, Shelby County, House Bill number 409 receives a favorable report by a vote of 4 ayes and 0 nays. From the Committee on Local Legislation, Shelby County, House Bill number 408 receives a favorable report by a vote of 4 ayes and 0 nays.
All right, these bills received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. This concludes committee reports. Now move on to motions and resolutions. Senator Elliott.
Mr. President, I have a bill that I need to recommit.
All right, any objection? All right. Hearing none, so ordered.
Local legislation.
Senate Bill number 310 has been re-referred to local legislation.
All right, Senator Elliott.
Mr. President, I have a resolution.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution, please.
Senate Joint Resolution number 50 by Senator Elliott commending Coach Tim Carter for his many contributions to the Alabama schools as a football coach on the occasion of his retirement.
Mr. President, we can send that to rules.
All right, send to rules. All right, any other
Senate
motions
Joint
or resolution?
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Senator Livingston.
Mr. President, I have an SJR.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the SJR, please.
Senate Joint Resolution number 51 by Senators Livingston and Carnley celebrating the life and mourning the death of Junior Harold Sorrells.
Mr. President,
Senator Livingston.
I'd like to move immediate consideration and have all senators added if.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is adopted. Thanks, Senator Livingston.
Thank you.
Mr.
right.
President,
Senator Wagner.
I have a resolution from Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules, please.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 99 by Representative Paschal recognizing the 43rd Alabama State Games opening ceremony.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 109 by Representative Rigsby commending Mac McCutcheon on retirement from public service receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from
All right,
Rules.
Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 112 by Representative Warren recognizing the Black Pioneers of Macon County receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 102 by Representative England commending Alicia Cannon receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 116 by Representative Jackson mourning the death of Joseph William Jones, Jr. receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution's adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 97 by Representative Ingram recognizing the second Sunday in September as Louis Vuitton the Pitbull Day receives a favorable report.
Mr. President, move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Resolution's adopted. All right, any other motions or resolutions? Okay, at this time, I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. These are the guests of Senator Gudger, Dr. Bill Bishop, the superintendent of Haleyville Schools, Dr. Kyle Kaloff, Superintendent of Coleman City Schools, and Dr. Shattuck, the Principal of Coleman City Primary Schools. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate. Great to have you today. All right, now move on to local bills. Secretary, call the first local.
On page 47 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 266 by Senator Carnley, a proposed constitutional amendment regarding Covington County.
Mr. President, I move BR using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
Twenty-three ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
Page 47 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 266 by Senator Carnley, a proposed constitutional amendment regarding Covington County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous rule.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
Twenty-four ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 266 passes.
Mr. President, I move certification using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
24 ayes, 0 nays. Certification resolutions adopted. All right, Secretary, call the next local bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 355 by Representatives Lee and others regarding Houston County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move BR using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 355 by Representatives Lee and others regarding Houston County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 355 passes. Secretary, call the next local bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 310 by Representative Crawford and others, a proposed constitutional amendment regarding Limestone County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move BR using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 310 by Representative Crawford and others, a proposed constitutional amendment regarding Limestone County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 310 passes.
Mr. President, I move certification using the previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The certification resolution's adopted. I want to recognize a special guest in the gallery, the guest of Senator Kelly. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The JSU University Police Chief, Michael Barton. Welcome to Alabama Senate. Great to have you today. Appreciate your service as well. All right, Secretary, call next local bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 366 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move the BIR using the previous rule.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 366 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 366 passes. Secretary, call the next local bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 367 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move the BR using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 46 of the calendar, House Bill number 367 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 367 passes. Secretary, call the next local bill.
On page 47 of the calendar, House Bill number 368 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move BR using the previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 47 of the calendar, House Bill number 368 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 368 passes. All right, Secretary, call the next local bill.
On page 47 of the calendar, House Bill number 369 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move the BR using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 47 of the calendar, House Bill number 369 by Representative Fincher regarding Randolph County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
25 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 369 passes. All right, and that concludes local bills. Thank you, Senator Chambliss.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I have a report from the Committee on Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the report from the Committee on Rules, please.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Resolution number 52, Special Order Calendar. Be it resolved by the Senate of the Legislature of Alabama that immediately upon the adoption of this resolution, the following business in the order set forth below shall be the special and paramount order of business for the 14th legislative day, taking precedence over the regular order of business or any pending or unfinished business. On page 23 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 205 by Senator Allen regarding the Underground Damage Prevention Program. On page 10, Senate Bill number 197 by Senator Roberts regarding food trucks. On page 29, Senate Bill number 221 by Senator Orr regarding taxation. On page 39, Senate Bill number 63 by Senator Orr regarding health care plans. On page 7, Senate Bill number 94 by Senator Melson regarding disabled parking. On page 24, Senate Bill number 249 by Senator Barfoot regarding license plates. On page 32, Senate Bill 271 by Senator Gavan regarding the Lieutenant Governor. On page 30, Senate Bill number 272 by Senator Orr regarding open records. On page 36, Senate Bill number 288 by Senator Melson regarding agriculture authorities. On page 40, Senate Bill number 84 by Senator Stutz and others regarding incarceration. On page 45, Senate Bill 303 by Senator Kelly regarding motor vehicles. On page 33, Senate Bill 209 by Senator Shelnutt regarding public schools. On page 33, Senate Bill 248 by Senator Shelnut regarding religious instruction. On page 5, Senate Bill 24 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding voting rights. And on page 26, Senate Bill 251 by Senators Hatcher and Stewart regarding tax abatement and tax incentive programs.
Mr. President,
All right, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, move the Senate adopt the report from the Committee on Rules using the short roll call.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
26 ayes, 0 nays. The special order calendar is adopted. Secretary, call the first bill.
On page 23 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 205 by Senator Allen regarding the Underground Damage Prevention Program. BIR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Allen.
I move the passage of the BIR and use some previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
27 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 23 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 205 by Senator Allen regarding the Underground Damage Prevention Program. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. President.
Senator Allen.
Yes, sir. Many of you already know about the 811 program that's contractors all over the state uses to prevent some damages to underground utilities. And we do have an amendment. I would like to move the passing of the amendment using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
27 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. Senator Allen.
Mr. President, yes, sir. This bill, two major things. It deals with the sunset provision as well as the complex problems, and that's what the bill is, and it's a very simple. And if there's no further questions, Mr. President, I move the passing of the bill using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
27 ayes, 0 nays. The Senate Bill 205 passes. Thanks, Senator Allen.
Mr. President, thank you, sir.
Hey, congrats on University of Alabama's basketball win last night. It's a big win. All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 10 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 197 by Senator Roberts regarding food trucks. BIR pending.
Senator Roberts.
Mr. President, I move BR using previous roll without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
27 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 10 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 197 by Senator Roberts regarding food trucks.
Mr. President,
Senator Roberts.
this is the bill that we've worked on for over 2 years. I had a group, one from Senator Smitherman, one from Senator Coleman Madison, and one from my district who came to me looking for a solution. I pulled together Alabama Department of Public Health. I pulled together the state fire marshals, and we've come up with this bill. We have one amendment that came from the Department of Insurance that I'd like to offer this morning. It further clarifies the exact language for fire codes. So with that, I'd like to move.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment, please.
Amendment to Senate Bill number 197 by Senator Roberts. Replace lines 52 through 54 on page 2 with the following. Replace lines 91 on page 4 with the following. Replace line 98 on page 4 with the following.
This amendment clarifies the International Fire Code standards so that it's clear moving forward, and I'd like to move adoption of the amendment using previous role without objection, sir.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
You are. Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
27 ayes, 0 nays. Senator Roberts' amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Roberts.
What's been fun about this is working with the food truck groups, working with fire marshals, working with our insurance department, and now ADPH. And I think we have a bill that works. It allows food trucks to go to fire marshals and get a sticker that's good for 6 months for them to operate. At no point in this bill does it preclude any fire marshal, any health officer from going on inspecting on a drop-by basis at any time. These trucks are on the road rolling, things can break, things can happen. Also gives them the right to inspect their commissaries, which is where the food trucks park at night and prepare food often. So it's a win-win for all of our independent small business guys that are out there working. Before, if they were gonna go into Greene County, they had to go to the city to get a fire marshal check, to get a health department check every time. This allows them to get a 6-month sticker to come out and do their work, but those inspectors in your hometown, my hometown, have the right to go and inspect at any time. So if my colleague has a question, I'd be happy to address it, sir.
I understand that.
Senator, you're recognized.
I apologize. Thank you, Mr. President. I understand where you're going, and I support the concept of where you're going. And I just want to make sure that I do understand the locality. Food truck has been out in Birmingham,
wherever,
cooking all night. There's a big event down in Greene County. They want to roll out the next day. They do what they clean. So now you're telling me that when they come, they got this state fire marshal sticker, right?
They have a state and Alabama Department of Public Health also. Yes.
Got that. So my local health department can still come and inspect their grills.
Absolutely.
To make sure that they're clean and sanitized.
And that their hoods are clean, everything else.
If they find a violation, then can my local health department shut them down and keep them from operating, even though they have to stay? That's what I want to know. So that you're still giving the locals some power. You're not taking away just because they have that.
No power. They also have to purchase a business license to operate.
Understand. Thank you very much.
So with that, Mr. President, I move final passage of SB 57 without objection, sir.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
27 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 197 passes. Thanks, Senator Roberts.
Thank you. And we may have State Fire Marshal Pilgrim here. I don't know if he is. I'd love to recognize him if he is here.
State Fire Marshal in the gallery?
I don't see him, but I appreciate his help. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Senator Roberts. All right, Secretary called next bill on the calendar.
On page 29 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 221 by Senator Orr regarding taxation, PR pending.
Senator Orr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this is a very simple bill. 2 pages, not very long, not very complicated. What it does is addresses a void in the law, and the void is this, and there is no law on this issue. And the issue is this. The issue is when some merchants or restaurateurs or whomever have a transaction, they wish to charge the municipalities want to put a tax on that service fee. So we will move to adopt the BIR, Mr. President, using the previous roll.
Object? Long roll? All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
My.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chastain. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Milson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams. Mr. Woods.
$28 ayes, 0 nays to be ours adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 29 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 221 by Senator Orr regarding taxation.
Mr. President.
Senator Orr.
All right, well, I was trying to very inarticulately explain the bill, but it is a simple bill. Right now, under Alabama law, we don't have a law when it comes to the taxation of the additional fee that some merchants, restaurants, whatever, add to your transaction when you purchase by credit card. So, for example, you walk in, you buy something worth $10, and you say, okay, and the price tag is $10, and you go to the cash register, and the merchant says, we're going to charge you to use a credit card, convenience fee, call it what you will. We're going to add that to your transaction. And let's say in this situation, it's a 3% charge. That's kind of standard out there. So now you're paying $10.30 for whatever you bought. Let's say it's, well, I was going to say a 6-pack of beer, but that's different. That's taxed differently. Whatever you buy, you're now going to pay on your credit card $10.30. The 30 cents being a transaction fee, a convenience fee, call it what you will. Then a tax, in not all, but a lot of jurisdictions have started taxing against $10.30. Not $10, but $10.30. And the local governments are taking it and using that, and presumably the state as well, and taking that $10.30 transaction, running the sales tax against it, and the government's taking the money all the way to the bank. So what this bill does is bring law to an area where there is no law. Currently there's no administrative law or rule. There's no statute that gives them this authority to tax the service fee. They're just doing it under policy of the Department of Revenue, which doesn't pass muster when you get audited. So I would tell all the municipalities out there that are so bent out of shape about this bill that when your auditor comes, you really don't have a leg to stand on. Now, if a member wants to bring a bill that says, oh yeah, municipalities can tax this service charge or this fee, then good luck with that. But that's what's going on out there in the world today, and this bill brings clarity and says, no, you can tax the $10, but you cannot tax the 30 cents because there's been no transaction of goods, no sale of goods. This is a tax on service. Call it what you want to. So, as I said, it's a simple bill, and I would yield for questions from the gentleman across the way who voted for this in committee, and I appreciate that vote, Senator. You had questions in committee and were supportive, so interested to hear if you got more questions for us.
All right, Senator Smotherman.
Well, Senator, at the proper time, I'm offering an amendment, but let me say this to you. First, I'll just address the last part of what you said about bringing a bill to do this. Anytime that you have, whether it be a law, whether it be a regulation, I think you said that they ruled it, they operating under rule, policy or regulations or whatever, it was something of that nature, then that is definitely acceptable to operate under that way when the field has not been explored by a governmental entity that's higher than the people who set the regs, i.e., anytime the federal government passes a bill and they exclude a field of reference in that bill, then we as the state of Alabama can come in and make a law in that area where they have excluded the field. And excluded means they haven't ruled, just as you said here, they haven't made a law, they haven't done anything that relates to that in that area. So then we as a state come in here and bring the bills and pass a state statute that how we are going to treat that issue. And we have perfectly the right to do that because the federal government has not addressed it. If they come back and address it, then it overrules what we have done because of the supremacy clause in the U.S. Constitution. Now, this is the same situation here. We have cities who are operating, getting the revenue from this procedure, and there's nothing wrong with that because that field has not been addressed. Now we want to come back and exclude them where they've been able to get revenue to provide for their budgets in the cities, i.e., the Class 1 municipality I represent. We stood right up in here and jumped all over all these municipalities, especially Class 1 and especially the one here in Montgomery in particular, talking about it ain't enough police and crime and yada yada. We did this right in here at these podiums. Now, they begin to hire officers, having to have revenue to pay for them, and now we want to take the revenue away from them. That's what this bill does. It takes revenue away from cities and counties, I'm sure. It takes revenue. That's why I'm standing up here. Because cities, as well as states, we don't print money. We have to give money from taxation. We want cities to do all of this, but last time I looked, I ain't seen nowhere where we send in cities, every city, a grant check to apply to all these things we telling them that they ought to do. So I personally would like for the whole county of Jefferson to be excluded.
Senator, do you care if I
we-
recognize some special guests in the gallery before he
Yes,
steps
sir.
out? Sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right.
All right, thank you. I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. I got two different groups. First group, the guests of Senator Gudger. I'm going to call your name. If you could please stand. The leadership of the Coleman Electric Cooperative. If y'all could please stand. Yeah, welcome to Alabama Senate. Good to have you today. All right, next group I've got is they're the guest of Senator Sessions, and when I call your name, if you could please stand, the Tillman Corner Area Leadership Learners, sponsored by the Southwest Mobile County Chamber of Commerce. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to Alabama Senate. All right, Senator Smithman, back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, as I was saying, I personally, because I represent about, I don't know, let's see, about 5 of the municipalities in part with my colleagues. I personally would rather, my first choice would be to just exclude Jefferson County. But I have not consulted with them, and I haven't had any consultation from but one of my cities regarding their need to keep this as it is. So my amendment is just going to simply be to exclude Class 1 municipalities. If y'all want y'all money to stop in these cities, that is fine. I'm not trying to interfere with anything y'all want to do. But y'all know my famous phrase, and I'm going to stop when I get said. You know my famous phrase. Look, leave Birmingham alone. Just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. If y'all want to do what you want to do, I'll vote for it. But just leave me alone. That's all I'm at. Ain't that you give me nothing, do nothing special. Just pluck me right out of there. And you all that believe in this and want to do this, proceed on. And I, just like I voted for the BIR, I'll vote for the bill. But I got calls. And I got calls from my city that's telling me it's going to put a hole in our revenue. And I'm just going to say it like this. I can't say it, come on, don't go nowhere. But I can't say it no other way but this, is that Birmingham ain't finna get no grants from the federal government. They ain't getting them kind of grants. That flow has stopped. They got to survive on their own with the help of the state. And y'all do a lot to help. So we do a lot to help. So I mean, I'm not talking about here, but I'm talking about they ain't getting no money past here to help with nothing. So to take money that they already got, gonna put them in a hole. I know we're saying that not you. No, I need y'all help and support and about passing this amendment. I'm not up here for no show. This ain't the show you put it up and we just vote up and down. I need some help. You know, I need some help so we can get this amendment passed. I want to make everybody understand that I'm not up here for feelings and for show and to say I gave a great fight. Great fight don't mean nothing if we ain't got no money. City can't operate. Huh? Oh, yeah, okay. No, we can't operate. We got to have the money. Now, if the state is really willing, if y'all willing to say whatever amount that is gonna make them short, you willing to say, well, the state would make it up, and we're gonna put it in the budget, and it's gonna be there. Then fine, I go along with that. That's what I'm saying. I don't have no problem, but you taking revenue away from us. And that's totally unacceptable. You know, let me tell y'all something. Back in the day, in the legislature, You would not pass a bill that would take revenue from somebody else if you didn't have revenue over there to replace it. Now, it might be not under the same entity, but somewhere else. Said like if we have the funds that come in on order transactions, like Amazon and all them people, you know, then you have revenue coming there, then you can give a cut like this if that revenue is designated to replace this revenue that you're losing. But all we doing is just making folks feel good and cutting stuff. And we hindering other people. Not intentionally, not at all. But I'm here to tell you the consequences of doing this is gonna take the revenue from the cities. And this particular city, Class 1 municipality, has informed me that they can't handle the cuts because it's gonna go into the revenue stream and it's gonna go in their ability to provide services, safety, health, and the welfare of the citizens to maintain that. No, we right at the point where we almost have hired all these officers we need for safety. Now we finna cut the revenue, and somewhere it's got to be cut. If you don't have the money, you gotta cut somewhere. And then the first time that they go cut, and then can't get the numbers, then you're gonna take the authority away from them to run their department. Come on, y'all. That's the way the cycle has been going. So now you put the whip on them and told them get the officers up to a certain line, or we could do A, B, C, or D. They jumped to the whip, did what you told them to do. Now you talking about we're gonna take the money away from you to do what we told them to do. That don't make much sense. But if y'all happy, if everybody's happy with that, that's fine. But look, take Class 1 out. I need that. I need that. I need that. So I would hope that we can get this handled. I hope that this can be taken as a friendly amendment and not as a challenge amendment, so that we can then move on with the rest of this agenda, you know, and get these other bills on out of here. And so hopefully we can do that, you know. I mean, and I don't think that that's unreasonable at all, just to tell you to take the Class 1 municipality out. We got, I don't know, can somebody tell me how many cities we got in this state? What you was at, 500, 200, 300, 1,000? How many y'all think? Where legislative reference? Hit Google and tell me how many cities that we have in this state.
400 and something.
Okay, he said 400 and something. Since he's working on this, I'll take his numbers. Oh, I'm talking about just one. One out of 400. One. That's all I'm talking about. One out of 400. One in the district I represent out of 400. You know, we just got through passing a bill dealing with Covington County. We just got through passing it. Just got through passing it. Because that was the concern and the interest that they had. But yet we passed it because it affected Covington County. And the senator from Covington County conveniently and thoroughly made it understandable that was the issue that dealt with Covington County, and he needed the help from the body. This is no different. And if we're going to show indifference to help him do that because that's his local issue, and not willing to help here when this is my local issue, then I have concern.
466.
That's partisan.
Senator Smith.
That ain't bipartisan, that's partisan. When I can't get no help in my district and we run over there and help in another district, that's partisan.
Senator Smithman, I got
And
your
my
answer.
people shouldn't be treated partisan.
I got the answer to your question. 466, number of cities. I got it for you. The question earlier, you asked me how many cities are there in the state.
Oh, okay.
I texted to find out for you.
Thank you. I
Anyway.
appreciate that. Thank you. You know, I'll tell you what I was looking at, and you can appreciate this. I thought you were just giving me the reminder of a certain bill on here. And that was the bill number. That's why you saw me look down. I said, well, now.
Mr. President, may I
Sure, go
interrupt
on.
real quick? In response to your question, you know, we pass bills all the time, you know, for the state as a whole, but I would at this time, Mr. President, like to move to just carry this bill over so I can dialogue further with my colleague across the way about this fine piece of legislation.
All right, any objection? All right, Senate Bill 221 is carried over. Thanks, Senator Orr.
Thank you.
Secretary, call the next bill.
Thank you, Senator.
On page 39 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 63 by Senator Orr regarding health care plans. BR pending.
All right, Senator Orr, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move adoption of the BR using previous role.
All right, any objection? You object? All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Conley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chasteen. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shellnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams. Mr. Woods.
26 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 39 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 63 by Senator Orr regarding health care. Committee substitute pending.
All right, I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. These are the guests of Senator Allen, Senator Singleton, and Senator Woods. Leadership Tuscaloosa, Anchor Tuscaloosa, Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to Alabama Senate. Great to have you today. All right, recognize some more special guests in the gallery. Shania Dortch, the Student Government Association president at Stillman College, the guest of Senator Stewart and Senator Singleton. If you could please stand. Great to have you today. All right, Senator Orr.
Mr. President, I would move adoption of the committee substitute, Mr. President, using the previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
(27 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. The committee substitute's adopted. All right, Senator Orr.
Mr. President, I have an amendment.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the amendment, please.
Amendment to Senate Bill 272 by Senator Orr. Replace line 38 on page 2 with the following.
I did have the right file, excuse me. We're good to go. This bill, Mr. President, it is a simple bill, but it allows, it says use AI in prior determinations or prior authorizations, but if you have a negative response from AI, you have to get a healthcare professional to review that information when it comes to making decisions as far as what surgeries or things that can be done. I'd move pass third reading using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
27 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. Senate Bill 63 passes. Thank you, Senator Orr. All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 7 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 94 by Senator Melson regarding disabled parking. BR pending.
Senator Melson.
Mr. President, hold 1 second. I'm sorry. Mr. President, I'd like to move the BIR using previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
28 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 7 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 94 by Senator Melson regarding disabled parking. Committee substitute pending.
Mr. President,
Senator
I'd
Melson.
like to table the committee substitute.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Committee substitute is tabled.
Mr.
All right,
President,
Senator Melson.
I'd like to offer a substitute.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the substitute, please.
Substitute for Senate Bill number 94 by Senator Melson.
Mr. President, what this substitute does, it just addresses the abuse of handicap parking by individuals that, one, either use somebody else's placard or car tag, and it just gives a method to law enforcement to identify by putting a QR code or a barcode on the placard or the car tag, and then it changes it. There is no misdemeanor levels anymore, just simple fines. The first one's like $50, the second one $200, the third one $500, and then you go into where they have to go do community service at an area that would have handicapped people for 40 hours. There is no jail time at all. this to me is kind of one of those things that we do. We have, more penalties for stolen valor and things like that, while we have handicapped people having to make adjustments because people abuse the system and take advantage for their own care. And so what we did, just kind of tighten that up, make a way they can identify, put a timeline of 90 days, or when the estate is probated, that they have to notify the Department of Revenue that the person is now deceased. And also we put, like I say, the QR code and the barcode so they can check the expiration date and who it was actually issued to, and go by that to determine if the person is actually a legitimate handicapped person or a caretaker or not.
Well, question, Mr.
Yeah, Senator Singleton.
I definitely want to make sure that your didn't take out caretakers, okay?
The caretakers are covered.
Right. So now what we're saying is that if I go to the store in Grandma's car that has a placard in it, and the only thing I see is a handicap, I park in it, and I get out, somebody question me about it, and if I'm not on it, then I get a fine.
That would be, if I understood the question correct, that would be correct. You would not be able to use their handicap unless the individual was with you for a grocery run.
So if I'm not on, so
Now,
I don't know.
If you're the caretaker and you're on that placard, you would be covered.
I've never used a handicap before. When I go to hotels and they give me handicap beds, I don't even want that room because somebody may come in and out. Unless, now don't get me wrong, now I have slept in them because it might have been the only room left. And I'm tired and wanted to sleep. Don't get me wrong. However, I'm not saying I'm totally complicit of that, but I want to say that I will call back to the desk if they give me a room that is a handicap, and I go to that room, I'll call back to the desk and ask, do they have anything else? Okay? Because I don't know who may come in the middle of the night that is handicapped and may need that room, okay? I don't park in handicapped parking spots intentionally because I'm not that. But I just want to make sure that we're not being subjective about who is handicapped and who's not, just because I get out of a car and I look, not handicapped, because my handicap may not be physical, it could be mental, and
they would scan your placard if they so desired, and if you were registered with the state as the one being issued or the caretaker, you would be exempt.
It doesn't matter.
That's correct.
So it doesn't matter whether I walk out there, happy-go-lucky, can jump 10 feet in the air. If my name is on that, ain't nothing they can do about it.
That's correct.
So what you're really is just punishing those people who just park in handicap, who have no sticker, and those who are utilizing the handicap sticker illegally.
That's correct.
I got you. Okay. I just want to make sure we're not subjectively getting people who, who are trying to do right and, maybe running, to the store for grandmama or somebody, and that may be the only one that's there, or, I know everybody want to park up front sometimes. I get it.
All right.
And we took out the jail time out of it.
We did.
Okay. And just civil penalties.
And community service with handicap facility to maybe realize that there's less fortunate in the people of the world that they need to be aware of.
No problem.
Thank you. Move for final passage using previous row.
You got to move to adopt a substitute.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, substitute.
Adopt a substitute.
You're too fast now. You look like, you sure you ain't hiring some of this substitute? Maybe I need to read this substitute. You move them out of fast.
Sorry. My apologies.
All right. Adoption of the substitute using previous role. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
28 ayes, 0 nays. Senator Melson, substitutes adopted. All right, Senator Melson.
Move for final passage. Previous row.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
28 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 94 passes. Thank you, Senator Melson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 24 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 249 by Senator Barfoot regarding license plates. BR pending.
Mr. President, I'd move for adoption of the BIR using previous rule.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
28 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 24 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 249 by Senator Barfoot regarding license plates.
Mr. President, see my colleague across the way. I want to explain this, and he may have some questions as well. This is a bill that came to me from the Alabama Joint Fire Council, which is comprised of the Alabama Association of Fire Chiefs, Alabama Association of Volunteer Fire Departments, Alabama Firefighters Association, the Professional Firefighters Association of Alabama, the Alabama Fire College and Personal Standards Commissions, the Alabama Forestry Commission, as well as the Alabama Fire Marshal Office. Very simple bill, already into law. This simply changes what is a voluntary license plate fee that if you desire to get that fee, it would add $10 added to the cost of that distinctive license, fire plate license, and then the bill goes on to show how that money is divided. 25% deposited into a fund managed by the Alabama Joint Firefighters Council to be used for a memorial there. 25% of that increase would go to the Alabama Joint Fire Council to be used for peer support program. 25% of the amount to be distributed to the Alabama Firefighters Annuity and Benefit Fund, and 25% should be distributed to the Secretary Treasurer of the Alabama Firefighters Emergency Relief Fund. So this increase of $10 is voluntary. If you want that distinctive license plate tag, you can certainly get that, and that increase goes directly for the benefit the benefit of those groups that support our firefighters around the state. So with that, I'd see my colleague. I don't know if he's got questions. If no questions, Mr. President, I move for final passage of SB 249 using previous rule.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
Twenty-nine ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 249 passes. Thank you, Senator Barfoot.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 32 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 271 by Senator Gavan regarding the Lieutenant Governor. BR pending.
Senator Gavan setting a record for the most bills about the Lieutenant Governor in a session.
It's a start.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Right now we have in my judgment, a deficiency about how we deal with vacancies in the Lieutenant Governor. We have a provision in our Constitution about if there's a vacancy in the governor's and the Lieutenant Governor's offices. This just kind of follows that if we have only one, vacancy in the Lieutenant Governor, so we're not left with the possibility that we would have a 4-year vacancy in that office. So I would move adoption of the BIR using previous rule without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 32 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 271 by Senator Gavan, proposed constitutional amendment regarding the Lieutenant Governor.
Senator Gavan.
Mr. President, I have an amendment.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Amendment to Senate Bill 271 by Senator Gavan. Replace line 31 on page 2 with the following. Replace line 36 on page 2 with the following. Replace line 98 on page 4 with the following. Replace line 101 on page 4 with the following. Replace line 120 on page 5 with the following.
All right, Senator Gavan.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the amendment using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Senator Gavan, amendment's adopted. Senator Gavan.
Thank you, Mr. President. This time I would move for final passage using previous rule without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 271 passes. Thanks, Senator Gavan.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 30 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 272 by Senator Orr regarding open records. BR pending.
Mr. President, I'd move adoption of the BR using the previous roll.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 30 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 272 by Senator Orr regarding open records.
Mr. President, I have an amendment.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Amendment to Senate Bill 272 by Senator Orr. Replace line 38 on page 2 with the following. Replace line 46 on page 2 with the following. Replace line 50 on page 2 with the following. Replace line 66 on page 3 with the following. Replace lines 92 through 93 on page 4 with the following.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move adoption of the amendment using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The Senator Orr amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I move third reading, I would like to say I miss my great assistant, Dalton Doyle, who's not with me today and who keeps me better organized. So with that being said, Mr. President, I'd move third reading using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 272 passes. Thanks, Senator Orr. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 36 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 288 by Senator Melson regarding agriculture authorities. BR pending.
Mr. President, I'd like to move the BR using previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 36 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 288 by Senator Melson regarding agriculture authorities. Committee substitute pending.
Mr. President, I'd like to adopt the substitute using previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Committee substitutes adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an agriculture authority bill. When you do the first in the state, you learn a lot and you need to make changes. This allowed you to do certain things that we weren't allowed to, like buy off the state procurement list, or the bid list. Now we add the procurement list so we can buy those off that. It also addressed some things about initial board placement and recurrent board. My colleague over there had an issue with that, which I agreed. I could understand where he was coming from. And this amendment puts it back to where legislative delegation and the county commission appointment, it does have one exception for any that are established prior to January 1st, 2022.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Amendment to the substitute for Senate Bill 288 by Senator Melson. Replace lines 55 through 59 on page 2 through 3 with the following.
I'd like to adopt the amendment. I will. Mr. President. I'll carry it over to the call of the chair, please.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Senate Bill 288 is carried over. Call of the chair. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 40 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 84 by Senator Stutz and others regarding incarceration. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move passage of the BIR using the previous row.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw Britton. Mr. Woods.
Thirty ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 40 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 84 by Senator Stutz and others regarding incarceration.
Mr. President, Senate Bill 84 is a straightforward bill that simply requires the Alabama Department of Public Health to inspect the food services in the Department of Corrections. And it's funny when one comes up with a bill like this, every single person that has asked me about the bill has said, "You mean they don't already do that?" Everybody assumes that they do. And they have the option now to inspect the system, but they don't have any provisions for enforcement. All they do is report their findings to the warden, and there's no enforcement provisions. And this bill has them not only inspect the food services, but also gives them the authority to impose the standards of cleanliness and so forth that we would all expect the food services to have. I see my colleague across the way. If you have a question, I'll be glad to answer it. Otherwise, I move for final passage with the previous row.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw Britton. Mr. Woods.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 84 passes. Thanks, Senator Stutz.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 45 of the calendar, Senate Bill 303 by Senator Kelly regarding motor vehicles. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the BIR by previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw Britton. Mr. Woods.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 45 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 303 by Senator Kelly regarding motor vehicles.
Senator Kelly.
Mr. President, I'd like to offer an amendment, please.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Amendment to Senate Bill 303 by Senator Kelly. Replace lines 135 through 136 on page 5 with the following.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of the amendment by previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw Britton. Mr. Woods.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senator Kelly, amendment's adopted.
Thank you. Mr. President, this bill brings clarity, safety, and accountability to the use of off-road vehicles on rural roads in Alabama. They're already part of daily life in the communities, and people use them to access property, check on livestock. This brings safety precautions to it, safety elements to it. With that, if there's no questions, I move for adoption by previous row.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Straw Britton. Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 1 nay. Senate Bill 303 passes. Thank you, Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 33 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 209 by Senator Shelnutt regarding public schools. BR pending.
Senator Shelnutt.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for passage of the bill using previous rule if no objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 33 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 209 by Senator Shellnut regarding public schools.
Senator Shellnut.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 209 is about sex education and what is being taught to our kids. Move for final passage using previous rule. No objection.
All right.
I tried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Shellnut, we talked about this bill. I don't think we're encouraging either one of us to change our minds on it. I have a question, though. Give me the essence of where you're trying to go with this bill. I'm still trying to understand what it is you're trying to do in the age of technology.
All right, let me explain this bill. Okay. What this is, there's basically two types of sex education across the land. There's a comprehensive sex education, which is not about teaching our children about healthy family formation. It's about sexualizing them at an early age through lessons that encourage high-risk sexual behavior. I'm on CSE for short, for comprehensive sex education. It also indoctrinates youth with the idea that sexual promiscuity is normal for teenagers.
Can you break
and
it down
parents
into
across
your
this
voice?
country are, they're outraged about the explicit language and graphic content that children are exposed to by federally funded CSE lessons that are taught across this country. Now, the other option is SRA, which is sexual risk avoidance, which uses medically accurate information, is appropriate for students, and encourages parental involvement and transparency. And it focuses on prevention, not normalizing sexual activity. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and in the committee meeting, these other groups, URGE and whatever, I was basically verbally attacked by, and they claim, they have some claims that are not true. They claim this bill bans sex education. It does not do that. It requires sex education. It just sets clear health-based standards. Students still receive instructions on pregnancy, parenting, adoption, abuse prevention, relationships, and following state law. They also claim that this is an abstinence only and unrealistic. Well, SB 209 is sexual risk avoidance, not abstinence only. It allows medically accurate discussion of contraceptive failure rates while making clear contraceptive does not eliminate risk. Abstinence is the only 100% effective prevention, which is medically accurate. They also claim that students won't get information to stay safe. SB 209 expands safety education, including abuse recognition and reporting, coercion and content, internet safety, healthy versus unhealthy relationships. And I can go on and on with what they have claimed this bill does, but it does not. This bill is medically accurate. They claim it's medically inaccurate. The bill requires medical accuracy. It allows discussion of contraception, limitations, and failure rates, which align with CDC information. They claim that this bill imposes religious beliefs.
Excuse me, Senator.
It does not. It contains
clarify who
no
they
religious
is?
language. It is based on public health, law, and educational outcomes. Sorry, you got.
You keep referring to they. Who are they?
All these other, you're talking about the groups that are making these claims?
Okay.
There are certain groups, there's probably
I don't know
a
about
lot
the-
of
I
them.
don't know about-
URGE and I don't know.
Okay, I don't know
They
about the
showed up in
groups.
the halls and showed up at the committee meeting.
Okay, I don't know about the groups. I'm just trying to get it from your perspective, where you're trying to go. I think I kind of understand what you're trying to do. As a parent, I understand your concern. But I want us to get down to just kind of peel the layers back so I can fully understand, because this is not a bill about your particular case as a parent and your child in relationship with your children. This is about a state law that we are passing that's going to impact all of our public schools and education and the curriculum and programs that we have. So just break it down. I don't want you to tell me about the reading of what they say. And maybe I'm a little slow, so break it down to me so that anybody, parents and whoever, because I'm sure they are concerned, break it down to explain it to me so I understand it.
Well, this is about educating our kids about what's best for them and best for their future. I mean, the data, medically, it is best for kids to avoid
What do you feel
sexual.
is best?
Wait for marriage and wait for a committed relationship. Get an education, get a job, get an education, get a job, then get married, and then, hey, it's proven if that's the best for your chances of avoiding poverty, avoiding sexual disease, avoiding unwanted pregnancy. So, I mean, that's just the facts. I mean, this is just medically.
But in this bill, do you think that that is going to encourage people to follow that path? You know, it's the perfect path, straight path. And that's perfect that we want everybody to follow. But realistically, and you know, it's like you have to take us where we are. Is this bill going to do that based on the fact that people come from diverse, you know, environments and things like this? All kids, I don't know, maybe you have a relationship where you can sit down honestly and openly and talk about sex education, about anything, and if there's an issue, that your children come to you first to talk about that. Most kids don't. They will hide things and not share it. They'll talk to friends. And my concern is for those parents who don't have that relationship that you have with your child, very open, I'm sure. But what about the child whose parents don't talk to them about sex education? You see, ignorance can cause a lot of things because you don't know, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know. It's unheard of almost in this day and age. But I was watching, they even have a show on television about young girls getting pregnant, really. And you're talking about 13, 14, one had a parent, the father was like 11 years old. And the child was saying that the young lady who was pregnant, she says, I didn't even know what it took to get pregnant. I didn't even know that's how you get a baby. She was like 13, but she didn't know that that's what you did and that's how you got a baby. But here she is pregnant. I'm like, what happened? Did her parents not tell her about this? It was a cycle because the mother was on there and she was saying, you know, well, you know, I got pregnant when I was 16 or whatever. Father was in jail or what have you. She had to raise that child alone. Question in my mind was, why did you not tell your child about this? But this cycle is being repeated. If it's not being taught in school and if they're not getting somewhere, I understand we would like to live and dot this world with the rainbow over the rainbow and everything sky blue. It's not the way it is. And so I do wonder about those that don't know and there's no opportunity to find out. And the reason I'm concerned about this is because it's not just your particular case or the ideal situation where parents have that relationship with their children. We are imposing this on everybody. And I was just wondering if there's a way that we can accomplish what you don't want basically taught to your child, but not necessarily take this knowledge away from those who need it. Interesting, I enjoy talking to the pages, and so when they come in, they know that they got homework if they're sitting over there by me. So I gave them this bill in particular. I gave another group a different bill. And this bill I gave them, I said, you all need to read this bill. This is about you. And they said, what? I said, well, and I was, honest because I said, you guys are not dumb. You understand what we're taking up. The sex education bill in the school. So what are you thinking about it? I said, read it, and I want to hear your opinion. So they read it. I said, okay, anybody got any questions? The young man said, well, so are you saying that we're not going to, y'all pass this, y'all think this is going to stop us from talking about it? You think that we're not going to be talking about it among ourselves and our friends and things like that? And somebody else says, well, we can always pull it up on the internet. If you're trying to hide kids and they hide things from kids and they understand that you're trying to keep knowledge from them, they will find a way to find it themselves. I taught kids with special needs. And we had to have this discussion because I knew, but again, you got to put it in the context where that mindset could understand it. Knowing that you have a limited capacity for certain things. But I had one student who was a little bit older. He said, well, let me tell them about it. I said, okay, fine. You make sure you tell them the truth based on what the facts are. I don't want you teaching about stuff out in the gutter. He finally says, never mind, you tell them. Understand, that was a teachable moment for me, because what he was saying was, we talk to each other. We're gonna share what we know, what we have picked up out in the street. So unless we're gonna ban all the internet, the phones, television, videos, everything that's out there has even selling cars got a sexual overtone to it. I mean, and you guys like the commercials. You can't sell gum without, it's got a sexual overtone to it. Everything is in their face. Let's not sell our kids short and think they don't know. Let's teach them the difference to be able to think for themselves and have discernment. So the problem I have with this, could you explain, it says the bill further provides for sex education and human reproductive curriculum or program in public K-12 schools, including the provisions, I'm on page 1, including the provision of information about state laws regulating the financial cost of pregnancy and child care, abortion, adoption, and instruction about parenting responsibilities. I do know that in high schools, they do talk about the fallacies. They even, to have young people to understand, they even have these babies, the dolls that you carry around. You got to keep up with them, you got to feed them, to wake them up, to let you understand what it is like and what will happen. So they are doing some of this, but they are doing it at a level that the kids will understand without beating them across the head and really driving them toward what you're trying to keep them from. Because you know how it is. If you keep telling a kid you can't do this and you can't do that, I'm like, it must be something I need to find out about. It piques their curiosity. And again, in the last section, prohibits sex as far as the curriculum. And again, all of this stuff is going to encourage kids to seek other forms of knowledge. They are like a sponge or a blank sheet of paper, and they are seeking knowledge. And again, by us not telling them, we're providing a blank sheet of paper to be written on. And what is going to be written on, since we don't want to tell them, they will find out through internet, through online, through talking to their friends, in the gutter, whatever. So sexually transmitted disease, as you all talked about, so you can get that from a toilet seat. There are other ways to get STDs without having a sexual intercourse. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where we're going. I wish that there was a way. I'm not going to prolong, because I know that you feel deeply about this, and I do understand it. I had to have that hard conversation myself. Sometimes it's not easy because young people know what they know and they think they know. But, even when you start talking about protection, and this bill says you don't talk about that. But as I explained, there's a whole lot worse things that you could get, than getting pregnant. You can go out there and get some kind of disease and, it may kill you. But you have to have these hard discussions with your kids. But in this case, you're saying don't talk about it. But if they don't know this is how you get it, just like the young lady that I spoke of earlier who was pregnant, that's like it's a TV show. And she says, I didn't know this, I didn't know this, I didn't know this what you call it. I didn't know this how you got pregnant. She did not know. So I'm not going to hold this up. I guess I'll let the vote go whichever way it is. I just want to express to you how I felt, and I wish that there was a way that we could accomplish what you want to do, maybe wording it in a different way, without making this a state law. But I think one answer would be for those parents who did not want their children to participate in sex education, that you just send a note to the school that you don't want your child included in that class, but don't deny the other children the opportunity to have it. And then sit down with the State Board of Education and really look at the curriculum that is being taught. And maybe we can include some of this in by doing policy rather than a state law. We don't need to pass a law for everything. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator Coleman. And
All right, thank you.
And this does allow, parent notification, 14 days, and they can opt out of taking the class if the parents don't want them taking
Senator
the class.
Smithman, do you want to be recognized?
I do.
All right, you're recognized.
Thank you. Senator, I have a few questions. You've answered one of them already when we talked. But give me the breakdown of, let me do it like this. Here's K, was going through school. K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From K to 12, give me the breakdown of what impact this bill will have. By ages and whatnot. What will be exposed to this age and, that age and that age?
Well, it stops those age-appropriate discussions that, you were in the committee meeting, I don't know if you were there, we had a 5th grader young lady come and talk about what she was exposed to in the 5th grade.
I remember that.
Yeah, it stops that. So, we don't want those discussions that young. So it's age appropriate. But I mean, this isn't hiding any information from our students. This is educating them on the risk of, sex, that you can get pregnant, that you can get an STD. So, I mean.
What age though? Are we teaching this to 4th graders?
No, no. I mean.
5th graders?
Hold on now.
Okay.
Give me a minute and I'll look. I know it banned somewhere, Senator.
Okay, take your time.
I think it age appropriate. Trying to find where it talked about the grade level, Senator.
I see kindergarten through, I'm looking at the BRC, nothing will happen between kindergarten and 4th grade.
Okay, where'd you find that?
That was on your synopsis. So you looking
I was looking at the bill.
The real bill, but I'm just looking at that little brief part.
I was trying to find where it said that. I remember it. Trying to find where in the bill it is. My scanning ability is not very good, Senator. I thought I would see.
You're doing good.
Where it talked about at what level.
I kind of see it. It says.
It would vary by the school districts and what they would allow, but 5th could. I think it's 5th grade. I can't find it, Senator. I'm slow. I'm a slow reader.
It didn't say it was excluded from 5th grade, but it didn't say it was mandatory. I didn't see where it said mandatory for them. I don't think I saw mandatory where, we're not going to teach it from K through 4th grade. I think they probably was trying to let you get into the middle. I think you probably was
Right.
thinking about the middle schools getting in there, and then from there going to the high school.
Right. And it just wants to stress, common sense education that abstinence is only 100%.
Well,
Way to avoid STDs and pregnancy. We're still teaching biology.
I was looking in here, and let me ask one other question, then I got a comment. How will we verify? I agree. Now, what I'm talking to is an agreement with what you're doing, but I'm talking about the process, the procedures. How will we be able to ensure that parents got notice? Now, I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because, of course, I coach boys basketball at Ramsey High School. And I'm a kind of coach like this. I ain't getting ready to call no parent and tell them about some time for something or anything. I'm gonna tell their kid. Now, if the kid don't go tell the parent, that's between the parent and the kid. Okay? That ain't my responsibility. Okay? It's the kid's responsibility. And the parents get on the kid if the kid's not doing it. Okay? In this situation, does it say how the parents gonna get notification that they could opt out if they wanted to? I know it said they can do it, and it said notice is gonna be sent, but is it some procedure? Is it somebody who's supposed to promulgate the rules, or is it that they'll be notified? In this case, of course, you wouldn't send every parent no certified letter, but is that discussed in there, how they gonna be notified?
All right, on page 7, line 182, it says parents or guardians shall be given advanced written notification of teaching of any sex education or of the human reproductive process at least 14 days before this content is taught to students. Upon the request of a parent or guardian and prior to the distribution to students, the school shall make available to parents and guardians the sex education curriculum in its entirety and provide each parent or guardian with the opportunity to opt his or her child out from this instruction with no penalty to the student. And then on the last page, as far as enforcement, I think you asked on page 8, line 210, it says the Attorney General shall have the authority to enforce this section by obtaining injunction relief to require compliance with this section.
Well, I see, and that's good. That's good, and I like the way that they'll have the opportunity to see that curriculum prior to opting in, if there's concern about what's being taught. I think that part is good too.
We definitely want parent involvement in all those kind of decisions.
And let me just say this to you in conclusion. Being a coach in high school, I'm glad to see some things in here, the level of what you are exposing them to. Because I'm here to tell you, I've been up there since '84. That's a long time, ain't it? Been coaching a long time, and I've seen plenty of children. Okay, plenty of them from '84 through now. Of course, I have my own. And I think that it does address the fact that kids are a lot more aggressive now than maybe in our time or my time, our time. And I'm there. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm at the school. And remember I talked to you about that. I said, now, I won't say here, but I said, there are A, B, C, and D with these kids. And you said that those things are being addressed, and it is, So I just wanted to commend you on that part, and yes, I do think it's a place for us to have this done, because for them to have to go out in the world and just discover, and another thing that concerns me is a lot of times They learn it on social media. And I stress this part about social media is this. It's that we are asking a fifth grader, a sixth grader, a seventh grader, an eighth grader, a ninth grader, a 10th grader. Now you hear me, you know I ain't said 11th or 12th grade. They ought to, that point, they got to know if they're gonna go on to college. They gotta know what I'm talking about. And that's simply this, Senator. If you on social media put this on there that you said, Senator Smitherman, he's a bad legislator. Okay? Not to me, but I'm talking about let one of them see that. Now, what will be their interpretation of it? All for social media. They gonna say that I'm terribly bad, or I'm like Chef. Bad mean good. He's bad. See what I mean? When they don't get this, you're asking them to take what's on that social media and apply their own 12, 13, 14, and 15-year-old interpretation.
Great to have you all today. Yeah.
They're fans of you, Senator. Those are your fans.
So that's what we're asking young people to do. You know, I mean, I'm just like the senator from Birmingham, from Jefferson County said. You know, we're having a. She talked about what they're understanding and what they're taught and what they're getting an understanding about, and that's what we're saying. Is that I think you're saying that look, I'm not going to leave it to chance that you're going to pick up on this on social media or somewhere else. These are some things that you need to have conversation about. And I think that these are some worthy things. I really do. I think that even though I did not vote for it, but even with our state laws, as it relates to abortion, they need to know what our law says, the consequences thereof. They need to be exposed to that information. They need to be exposed to the risks that are involved and the impact. I saw something in here where you had financial impact. Isn't that correct? Yeah, they need to know what impact it's gonna have on their life. You know, it's a big responsibility when it's a third person. And they need to know up front the facts of your actions if those actions are taken. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Senator.
I've been provided all the facts and everything about it, so I know what it does, and at the proper time, I'm going to vote and support your bill.
All right.
Thank you, Senator. And I thank you for what you do for our kids. And I know you're around them all the time, and that's what we want to do is educate them and, hey, make their lives better in the future. That's all we want to do. So at this time, I move for final passage of SB 209 using the long roll.
All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chastain. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shellnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams. Mr. Woods.
Twenty-six ayes, 3 nays. Senate Bill 209 passes. Thanks, Senator Shellnut. All right, Secretary, call the next bill, please.
On page 33 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 248 by Senator Shellnut regarding religious instruction. BR pending.
Senator Shellnut.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Mr. President, I want to thank you first for your hard work and your staff on this bill. So I move for passage of the BR using previous rule with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Woods.
26 ayes, 3 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 33 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 248 by Senator Shellnut regarding religious instruction. Committee amendment pending.
Senator Shellnut, we're on
Yes.
the amendment.
We have an amendment that is agreed upon. The Superintendent's Association worked hard with our Lieutenant Governor and his staff on this bill. The amendment, it says, no student may be excused from the minimum instructional time for any course or subject as prescribed by the State Board of Education, nor from any other student intervention required under state or federal law for purposes of participating in religious release time. Nothing in this section shall be construed to. That's the amendment.
All right.
So move for passage of the amendment. Use the previous rule with no objection.
All right. Senator Smith, do you want to talk?
I was just saying, I really was saying previous role before he was.
All right. Okay.
Oh, he wants, Senator wants.
On the amendment?
I want to know what the amendment is doing here.
All right, this is the amendment from the Superintendent's Association. It says, no student may be excused from the minimum instructional time for any course or subject as prescribed by the State Board of Education, nor from any student intervention required under state or federal law.
All right. Got a motion to use previous role?
Use previous rule of no objection.
Senator Singleton, you object?
Go ahead.
All right. Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Woods.
26 ayes, 3 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. Senator Shellnut.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 248, it updates existing code to clarify how release time religious instruction may operate during the school day. If there's any questions or comments, I think.
I have one question.
All right, you recognized.
Thank you. I call myself reading the bill, and I just want to get clarified on something. And if you know where it is, if you read what I'm gonna say, because when I walked back while you was taking the vote, I was trying to find my bill. It's on my desk somewhere. But it says something. It says something, and if it says this, I like it. It says though that once they leave, that the school was not responsible for them. It's something like that. Can you find that in there?
Well, you saw how long it took me to find your last question, so I'll try. It's somewhere in there. Hopefully somebody will text me where it is. So because of my scan, I don't read as fast as you lawyers.
That's all right, but isn't it in there?
It is in there. I know it is in there. I read that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that in there?
We're trying to protect our schools.
No,
we're protecting our schools.
Listen
We don't want
this.
something happens outside the school, we don't want the school responsible for it.
Listen to this. I heard from the expert on this issue that it's in there. And so I thought I would say that. No, I'm talking about the expert in here. I heard that just a few minutes ago. So that was just a question that I had about that. Now, the comment that I have is simply this, is that, number one, how long you been in the Senate, Senator?
Too long.
No, for real. I want to measure
This
something.
is year 12.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
Were you here when I put in the bill to put prayer in school?
When you put in what, sorry?
A bill to put prayer in school. That probably was a term or two, maybe before you got here.
It might have been before I got here. I'm sure I'd have voted for your bill, though.
You would have. I believe that. And I said that just to say that I think that is a golden opportunity for kids to be able to, especially the parents who want them to be exposed to that religious teaching, that it won't interfere with their school. And the amendment made sure of that. And I think at the same time, it'll give them that opportunity. I want to say that just to say to you that there ain't nothing wrong with them talking to God, okay? There's nothing wrong. That's my personal feeling. There's nothing wrong with the opportunity for them to have that relationship. And I think that in itself would have a very controlling and humbling effect about how people think and feel and treat each other even. So I think that it's very good. I'm going to support it, and like I said, we had something similar like that when I was in high school. Now, I was a member of FFA? Yeah, FFA, and we used to do that in the mornings. Before school, we would do that. Even with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, we would do the same thing. We would have the flag raising, and we would have a little small service in the morning, getting to school early. So I think that it's a place for it. Because people who want to do it, it's a place for it, it's an opportunity. And as I said to you earlier, at the right time, I'm going to vote and support it because I believe in that.
Senator,
I believe in the Lord. I believe in God, and I don't mind sitting there saying that, Say what now?
I think I've found where in the bill it answers your question. On line 110, page 4, says the sponsoring entity makes provisions for and assumes liability for the student who is excused for release time.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to yield the mic to
Senator Singleton.
Yes. While I believe in prayer and believe in the Lord and believe that the Lord Jesus Christ died for all of our sins, I still think that there's a place, and it's never too much to talk about religion, but why is this necessary for students to leave a campus to go somewhere to get a religious experience? Because there's nothing wrong with a child getting a religion experience individually at school now. The law is just about a congregational prayer. You can do your own individual prayer right now at school if you want to. You can stop and pray just like I can go over in that corner right now and have a prayer if I want to. I could pray at my desk. If parents are teaching their children to pray and have God in them already, why are we having to leave to go to an institution and taking away institutional time of learning to go to get prayer when we should be teaching our children to pray or pray before they leave home? Does the prayer from home carry them throughout the day? Or is it that they got to go somewhere else to get a prayer to help them get through the day? Can they pray before they leave home with their parents? Or if they're home, their parents teach them, even if they're home, their parents going to work. Why do we have to leave school, which takes up instructional time, to go and get that religious experience? I just want to answer that question.
Well, you don't want them teaching religion at school. I mean, correctly? I mean, constitutionally, I don't think that would be a good thing.
I don't know. They're not teaching. Are they teaching religion here?
So this is just an option. Some parents don't have this opportunity for their kids to learn about this. So it's just an option.
So what are they learning? Is this open to all religions?
If it's a local religious establishment that works with the local school board.
So with this administration so against Muslims, and we talk about what is the Sharia law or whatever it is, can they go off campus and get their own religious belief if they wanted to?
If there's a
or
local,
any religion?
yes. If there's
I'm just asking them. We'll make sure that it's open to everybody. It's just not open to Christians and Christianity.
Correct.
You know, because everybody have their own beliefs. Some people just don't even believe, because there's a lot of questions about Christianity today in terms of what contradictions people beginning to read for themselves now, not just being taught to by someone. Because I know I teach my children, if you want to pray, just pray at school. You know, take your time and do that. You can take that moment and do that. We ain't got to leave campus and go somewhere and take a chance of a kid going and having a wreck somewhere off campus, you know, and going to somewhere to get a religious experience when they can do it before they leave home or do it at school.
Yeah. Well, this is just an option that we want to give some parents that are wanting this option. So it's just an option for kids. And it's not going to take away from their instructional time on any of their core classes or anything.
Why isn't it? Because all of the instructional time is already built in. These kids are based on blocks. So now they got to find an hour within their block to be able to go out an hour to do it and then come back in and catch back up with their block. So now it's gonna take a rescheduling of these schools for these particular kids. If it's 50 kids that want to go into school, they got to find a scheduling time within that 50 that allow them to be able to go out.
Right. And
which could be taken away from some instructional time based on their blocks.
Yeah, but the local school board is going to make that decision, and I don't think they would make a decision that's going to take their kids away from important instructional time on our core subject.
But if we are passing a law to say that they must do this,
no, it's not must. It just allows them. It's up to the local school board to make the decision about how this policy is going to be instituted.
So if a local school board don't want to opt into this and do this, they don't have to do that. But if a child comes and say, I want this, then what are the local school board requirement? If a parent comes there and say, well, if one child, I want this to happen for my child, so the local school board, then are we requiring them to set a policy at that time?
No, they can come up with policy that they want to. So they're in control.
So it's still optional that they come up with that policy.
Yes.
So it's just optional in the bill that the local school board comes up with the policy.
Right. It changed from last year. Adopting a policy is not required anymore. Last year it was. So
right. Last year I know you were trying to make it like a mandate that they do.
Yeah. It says a local board or superintendent may deny participation if there's an objection, substantial risk of physical harm. So I mean, we're not mandating it like we did last year. They're just different.
Okay, because the concept is fine. You know, kids can get religious experience. I'm just trying to make sure that we're doing the right thing here in terms of allowing kids to leave campuses to go somewhere to get something that they can get at home with their parents, or something they can get after school, something that they can get at some other time than instructional time. Some other time than instructional time. This could happen after school. This could happen before school. Why during instructional time?
It's not taken away. I mean, we let kids leave school for all kind of activities and events all the time. I mean, but that's up to the local board or superintendent about how and when they're going to let them leave for something like that.
Yeah, but kids leave. But when they leave, they're leaving their class block. So they're leaving for something, and they have to bring an excuse back for that. So that's still their instructional time that they're leaving for. It's not like they just got this time that they just hanging out. You know, there may be some free time in there. I don't know. Maybe they're taking away people, but I know the way they do block systems now in most of these schools, it's really tight. Kids really don't have a whole lot of free time. Or I mean, when I was in school, we used to have that study period, they used to call it, where we just go back to our homeroom teacher and just sit there for an hour called study period. Okay?
You just sat there? You didn't study?
I mean, but I'm just saying we would go back to our homeroom teacher and that's where we would be. It was a study period. And so our teachers had that study period block that they had with students, but it's not designed that way anymore in terms of the way they do block systems now, because these kids are already on a block. So if they got to leave a school and say, I want this time to go and have this religious experience, then they're taken away from something.
Well, that's why we're leaving it at the local school board, because all systems are not on block systems. Some are on 7-period days. So that's why we're leaving it up to them, so that it doesn't, we're not mandating a certain time or a certain day or so we're leaving it up to them.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to fight you on this. I mean, parents have a right to do so, but I don't think that, we're taking from parents. We always talk about parental rights and what parents ought to be doing. These parents ought to be talking about giving their kids their own religious experience, instead of we trying to leave it up to somebody else to do it. That's what we're doing. If they're being taught that at home and they've been taught to go and pray when you need prayer. Because I can guarantee you, by the time you take that test, them kids sitting there saying, Lord, please let me pass this prayer, this test. They doing it anyway. They're doing it anyway. Come on, let's do. Oh Lord, please, don't let me get in trouble for what I just did running up and down the hall. Lord, please don't let them put me out of school because I just shouted out in the classroom. Lord, please don't let. It's happening. They're talking to the Lord anyway. It happens. It happens. We do it down these hallways. Lord, please, I need to get this bill passed, Lord. It's happening anyway. So you can't tell me it's not happening. So we're creating something that's already happening. Kids are already talking to God themselves. Because most of the time we don't go to God until we're in trouble. Most folks. To something right up on us. Right up on us. Then we want to get, oh Lord, all on both of them knees then. Lord, and we be saying, Lord, if you just let me get past that, I swear I won't do it no more. As soon as it's over, we do it again. But all I'm saying, I'm not knocking what you're doing. I just personally don't see the necessity in it. And I think it's going to take away from instructional time. But if this is going to help somebody, it may help one child. If it's going to help somebody, then it's fine. But, but if they're getting from that guidance from Sunday school to church on Sundays, or their Sabbath may be Saturday, whatever days there may be, they may go to prayer service on Wednesday night. If you are instilling that in your children already, they're going to do what's right anyway. If you're not, those kids, nobody going to opt to go anywhere. Okay? So I don't see the necessity in it. Again, I'm not going to fight it. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in people should have religious instruction. But I just think the timing of what you're asking for religious instruction is not really necessary, and it could be done at a different time. It could be done after school, before school, if you want to do that. If it could be done at any other time. Just like you said, kids leave school for everything, but kids stay out of school for a whole lot of stuff too. Okay? And so if we want to do it, but we're now about to make the school board create a problem for a few students in terms of instructional time. It's going to be a problem for some school boards to do this. Even if kids and their parents demand and want it, it's going to be a scheduling problem. Believe you me, if there's no perfect timing that we're going to put in this bill that would allow for that to happen during instructional time. So it's going to become a problem somewhere. Even though they may want to do it, but they're going to find a way, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be problematic. And I just hoping they're not doing some core curriculum courses that kids need to graduate and during those times. Hopefully it's doing some extra curriculum time, and you can't put all students on the same schedule that all of them got extra curriculum time together. Because these kids may want to do it If you said that we will only do it in first block, well, first block for some kids may be English. They don't need to be missing English. They don't need to be missing math, because then somebody else's first block may be PE. And you may say, well, okay, they can go and do it in PE because we may be sitting here not doing anything. Go on and do it. But you're not allowing those kids who's in the first block. So now a scheduling problem going to happen at what hour of the day can they go? Or you're going to have kids leaving at all hours of the day, leaving campus to go get that religious experience if they try to schedule it when kids can go. Because they're not all on the same schedule. I'm just bringing out some of these unintended consequences that could happen. Even though your bill doesn't say it mandates it, but for those who do elect to do it, I'm telling you it's going to be a scheduling problem.
Well, in the bill it says they can't miss core classes for it. And so, I mean, that's why we're leaving it up
So
to the
that's what I'm
locals.
saying. So but then there are going to be somebody who going to, so therefore you're going to start to seeing kids go all through the day. Because if I can't lose my core classes, because my core classes may be block 1, block 3, and block 5. And somebody else's may be block 2, 4, and 6. And so therefore, you're going to have kids leaving at different times of the day. And so that's why I'm saying you're going to have a scheduling issue of trying to keep up with where all of these kids are, whether or not they're returning back to campus, or when they leave, are they returning back, check in, check out, all of that. All I'm saying is you're going to have a scheduling problem. It's going to happen. Whether we like it or not, it sounds like a great idea while we as legislators, because none of us work in the school system. It sounds good here. Sounds real good here. Sounds like the brightest thing to do. But I bet you right now some counselor is sitting saying, Lord, I hope he's praying that I hope they don't pass that bill because it's going to cause some scheduling problems for me trying to help them get their schedules to do it. There's somebody praying right now that hopefully that we in the school that we don't pass it. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not going to further belabel it. I'm not even going to vote against it. I'm going to vote for it. But I'm just telling you that you're going to have some scheduling problems. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Senator Singleton.
Thank you, Senator Singleton.
All right.
Move for final passage, SB 248, using the long roll.
All right. Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chastain. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams. Mr. Woods.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 248 passes. Thanks, Senator Shelnut.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator Singleton. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 24 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding voting rights. BR pending.
All All right, Senator Coleman Madison.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to pass the BRR using previous role.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
Twenty-eight ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 24 by Senator Coleman Madison regarding voting rights. Committee substitute pending.
I'd like to move committee sub using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
Twenty-seven ayes, 0 nays. Committee substitutes adopted. All right, Senator Coleman Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill just requires the Pardons and Parole Board, along with the Secretary of State, to post on their website individuals who have completed all of their requirements under pardons and parole to have their rights restored. They would just put it on the web page. One source, more of a notification bill that they will be able to go to find out if they have completed everything and before they even go to attempt to have the rights restored.
Mr. President.
All right, Senator Barfoot.
And I just want to make sure, this came through judiciary, and this is the sub that
This is the sub that
that came
Right.
through. And I think there was some concerns, just procedural about how, and I think that sub addressed some of those.
This address that we worked it out through Secretary of State's office, and it's just a posting on the website.
Right, and as I remember in the discussion in committee, it didn't change any of the eligibility. It's just a notification
Right.
posting.
They still have to meet all the eligibility. It doesn't change any of that. This allows them to post those names of people who have completed it.
I just want to make sure that I remembered that correctly.
Right,
Thank
thank you. I move final passage using previous role.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
Twenty-six ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 24 passes. Thanks, Senator Coleman Madison. All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 26 of the calendar, Senate Bill 251 by Senators Hatcher and Stewart regarding tax abatement and tax incentive programs. BR pending.
Senator Hatcher.
Mr. President, I move for passage of the BIR using the previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
26 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 26 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 251 by Senators Hatcher and Stewart regarding tax abatement and tax incentive programs. Committee amendment pending.
Mr. President.
Senator Hatcher.
Senate Bill 251 allows the legislator to update qualifying project definitions in one centralized, transparent location with the abatement law, within the abatement law, rather than across multiple sections of codes. That is the gist of the bill. It cleans up some technical issues. If there are no questions, I'd like to move for final passage of Senate Bill 251, using the previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Yeah, on the amendment, yes. We're on the amendment right now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, just making sure. Yep. You're using previous role.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
26 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Hatcher.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move now for final passage of Senate Bill 251 with the amendment, using the previous role without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods.
26 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 251 passes. Thanks, Senator Hatcher.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Senator Melson.
Mr. President, I'd like to bring back SB 288 at the call of the chair.
All right, Secretary, call up SB, you say 288? 288.
On page 36 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 288 by Senator Melson regarding agriculture authorities. Amendment pending.
Senator Melson.
Mr. President, I'd like to go ahead and adopt the amendment using previous role.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
26 ayes, 0 nays. Senator Melson, amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Melson.
Mr. President, I have another amendment.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the amendment. All right, Senator Melson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a clarification that a lawyer requested that I get on keeping the tax on a hotel. You can if you own it, but also this clarifies that you can if you have somebody else manage it. So
I didn't understand what you just said, Sam.
it says a clarification attorney requested that you get in the previous bill, that if you have a hotel on that property, you collect the taxes and keep them for O&M. That's for ownership. This one allows it for if you do a ground lease and somebody else owns it.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So I'd like to move for final passage using previous row of the amendment, adopt the amendment.
Senator Stutz, you against the long roll? You want the long roll? All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Allen, Mr. Barfoot, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Bell, Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chastain, Ms. Coleman, Ms. Coleman Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Melson.
Aye.
Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Shelnut, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smitherman, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Stutz, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver,
Well, there might not be a part of municipality.
Mr. Williams,
They might be a freestanding out in the community somewhere.
Mr. Woods,
35 ayes, 1 nay. Senator Melson, amendment number 2 is adopted. All right, Senator Melson.
I'd like to move for final passage using previous row.
Any objection using previous roll? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Woods,
(26 ayes, 1 nay). SB 288 receives its final passage. Thank you, Senator Melson.
Thank
Senator
you.
Smitherman, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. I would request unanimous consent to bring up a resolution. In fact, I got 2 of them. Well, start with one at a time. I saw the boss over there throw that one finger up there before I could get it out the mouth. He said, so one at a time.
Is there any objection to bringing up the resolution out of order? All right, hearing none, desk, read and receive the resolution.
All right, let me put my little name on here. And I want y'all to listen because I want all y'all to put your names on both of them. So, and I ask you, would you read it as well? I would like for you to read that. Yeah.
Senate Joint Resolution Number 53, commending Alicia Cannon on 50 years of service to the state of Alabama and the Alabama judicial system. Whereas it is with the highest admiration and gratitude that we recognize Alicia Cannon for 50 years of faithful, distinguished, and impactful service to the state of Alabama and to the Alabama judicial system. Whereas Alicia Cannon is a graduate of G.W. Carver High School in Montgomery and later earned her degree from Alabama State University, laying the educational foundation for a lifetime of professional excellence and public service. Whereas on Friday, February the 27th, 1976, Alicia Cannon began her career in Alabama's court system as a clerk and stenographer with the Department of Court Management, entering state service during the early years of the development of Alabama's modern unified judicial system. Whereas shortly thereafter, she began what would become a long and distinguished tenure in the finance division of the Administrative Office of the Courts, serving as an assistant clerk and purchasing agent, where her strong work ethic, attention to detail, and sound judgment quickly set her apart. Whereas through dedication and proven expertise, Alicia Cannon was elevated to the deputy purchasing agent, then rose to serve as purchasing director for the Administrative Office of the Courts, and ultimately advanced to the leadership role of assistant director of the AOC Finance Division. Whereas throughout her career, Alicia Cannon has demonstrated exceptional stewardship of public funds, earning a reputation for frugality, fairness, and careful oversight in purchasing, saving the state of Alabama significant resources while ensuring that courts across the state receive the equipment and support they needed to serve the public effectively. Whereas she has long been a trusted resource and friend to numerous chief justices and administrative directors of courts and to countless judges, circuit clerks, and court administrators throughout Alabama, generously sharing her knowledge and experience and helping guide court financial and purchasing practices with professionalism, integrity, and a spirit of service. Whereas Alicia Cannon has also played a vital role in mentoring and developing staff within the AOC, freely sharing her expertise, institutional knowledge, and practical wisdom with generations of employees. Whereas Alicia Cannon's 50-year career stands as a powerful testament to the value of dedicated public servants whose quiet leadership, decades of practical wisdom, and unwavering commitment strengthen Alabama's courts and the administration of justice every day. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of Alabama, both houses thereof concurring, that Alicia Cannon is highly honored and commended for 50 years of outstanding service to the state of Alabama and the Administrative Office of the Courts. And this resolution is offered to her in deepest gratitude, respect, and appreciation for her lasting and continuing contributions to Alabama's judicial system.
Mr. President.
Senator Smitherman.
I'd like to move for adoption of the resolution and add all senators. It's a joint resolution that's going to leave us and go to the House as well for her, but I would like to make the motion at this time.
All right.
That's unanimous consent.
Any objection to immediate consideration on the resolution? Hearing none, so ordered, and you're moving for adoption.
And request all senators' names to be added.
All right, any objection to all names being added? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Noes? All right, the ayes have it.
I ask unanimous consent to offer another resolution.
Any objection? Hearing none, desk, read and receive the resolution.
If you would read it, I would appreciate it.
Senate resolution commending Dr. Mark Sullivan on being named Outstanding Superintendent of the Year.
Yeah, everybody. Don't you read it? I want to read it. I want to get it read.
Whereas highest commendations and congratulations are herein proudly presented to Dr. Mark Sullivan, Superintendent of Birmingham City Schools, on his remarkable achievement of being selected as the 2025-2026 Outstanding Superintendent of the Year by the Alabama Education Association. Whereas Dr. Sullivan was chosen through a vote of his peers across the state, the honor acknowledges superintendents for professional achievement, innovation in supporting schools, efforts to promote public education, and leadership that enhance the image of educators. Whereas since becoming superintendent of Birmingham City Schools in 2020, Dr. Sullivan's vision and passion for students have helped drive historic progress across the district. From record academic gains and a comprehensive improvement plan focused on early literacy and data-driven instruction to expand college and career pathways and equity-centered policies that support the whole child. Whereas under his leadership, Birmingham City Schools received its highest grade ever on the Alabama State Department of Education report card. Whereas Dr. Sullivan is a graduate of Birmingham City Schools and served the system for 25 years as a teacher and principal. Whereas Dr. Sullivan's outstanding leadership has helped Birmingham City Schools achieve historic progress, making a tremendous difference in the lives of thousands of students. Whereas he is known throughout Birmingham for his generosity of time, personal sacrifice, and tireless work ethic. He is loved and respected by the community in which he has dedicated more than 30 years of service. Whereas with his commitment to excellence and tireless dedication, Dr. Mark Sullivan personifies the finest qualities of those who enrich the lives of Alabama's young people through the noble vocation of education, and he is truly worthy of the significant honor bestowed upon him. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the legislature of Alabama that Dr. Mark Sullivan is hereby mostly commended and congratulated for being named the 2025-2026 Outstanding Superintendent of the Year by the Alabama Education Association, and this resolution is offered to him in deepest admiration and appreciation, along with sincere best wishes for continued success in all future endeavors.
All right, Senator Smitherman.
Mr. President, I would request unanimous consent to be considered, and I would also ask unanimous consent for all senators to be added to the resolution.
Okay. Any objection to all senators being added? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The ayes have it. The resolution passes.
Could you recognize me for a brief moment of personal privilege?
You're recognized.
I just want to thank you all and just tell you that it ain't often that 2 years in a row you get a chance to be representing the state superintendent of the year. Last year, Dr. Gonsolin of Jefferson County, who ended up being the national superintendent of the year, whole nation superintendent of the year, we honored him here last year as being the state superintendent of the year, and that's the Jefferson County system. And now this is our superintendent in the Birmingham school system, who has been named by his peers as the superintendent of the year. So I want to tell you that, yes, you all see that we are working hard and trying to make sure our students meet up to the standards that we set down here. And I just want to tell you that on their behalf, thank you, number one. And number two, keep on helping us because we need it. Thank you very much. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Senator Smitherman. Pro Tem Gudzer, you're recognized.
Mr. President, I think we're taking House messages.
All right, desk read and receive the first House message.
Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has amended as therein shown and is amended as passed the following Senate bill and returns same herewith to the Senate. Senate Bill number 113 regarding the Alabama Behavior Analyst Licensing Board. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk.
Mr. President.
Senator Gudzer.
I'll make a motion to concur after reviewing.
All right, using the previous roll.
Previous roll without objection. Yes, sir.
All right, any objection to previous roll? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
$27 ayes, no nays. The Senate concurs in the House Amendment to SB 113.
Thank you,
Senator
Mr.
Gudzer.
President.
All right, Secretary, call the next House message.
Message from the House. Mr. President, the House of Representatives has amended as therein shown and is amended as passed the following Senate bill and returns same herewith to the Senate. Senate Bill number 128 regarding the Alabama Sickle Cell Oversight and Regulatory Commission. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk.
Senator Gudzer.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll make a motion to concur after we've reviewed using previous roll without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Woods.
28 ayes, no nays. Senate Bill 128. The Senate concurs in the House amendment. Desk call the next House message. All right, this concludes House messages. Senator Gudzer.
Mr. President, we'll take the first readings if that's up. We got them. Okay. Mr. President.
Senator Grosser.
Thank you. I'm going to do something a little out of the ordinary that we normally don't do. And we've got a lady that walks around here, takes care of a lot of things behind the scenes, especially with our pages. And all of you know her, but at the same time, we just want to look at you, Miss Rosalind, over there and give you a round of applause for all that you do. And while we're doing that, we're going to give a round of applause to the pages that stayed with us already. Some of them have left, but thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Thank y'all. One other point of personal privilege, Mr. President, if that's all right. Ladies and gentlemen in the Senate, the State House has had a few unusual actions that's happened throughout this whole House this week. I want everyone to know on this particular floor that I appreciate all the senators and their staff for their strong, their stable, and their powerful progress as we have handled many of the legislation packages up here in the Alabama State Senate. But most of all, I want to say thank you for your character and integrity as we work as a team and as we work across aisles together. In the end, there's 35 of us strong, and we appreciate that more than you know as leading this group. I want to say thank you to you and to our staff, so thank you for that. Mr. President, after saying that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn till 2 p.m. on Tuesday, February 24th, and after adjournment, there'll be a brief chairman's meeting upon adjournment. Thank you.
All right, you've heard the motion. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Senate stands adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. President.